The municipality has a gifts and donations policy. One of the aspects or provisions of that policy is first, before you can receive a gift, the municipality has to scrutinize the donor. We need to find out who is the donor, what standing the donor has, are there any issues that actually as a government entity we should be concerned about the donor, not the donation yet. Before you even get to the point of the donation, you have to look at who is the donor. Because you don't want a situation wherein as a government entity you are then aligning yourselves with persons or institutions or entities that are questionable. So that is what the donations policy prescribes. That before we even talk about the donation, let's look at who is donating. So clearly, it would have been unlawful for the municipality to just get a donation without having done its due diligence in respect of the donor itself. Secondly, the donation that is intended. In order, again, Chair, I must emphasize that as a regulated body, a municipality, everything we do must be recorded. It must be recorded. If there is an offer to donate something to the municipality, not to the individual, to the municipality, there must be a report. And in that report, one would have expected that the report would then talk to these issues that are raised in page 146. That report must say, as a municipality, we've got a problem of capacity in terms of our crime prevention efforts. We do not have enough vehicles. We do not have enough capacity, personnel. We do not have the necessary skills and competences, in terms of maybe tactical training and whatever else that is raised here. There must be a report that talks to these issues. If I was Brigadier Mkhwanazi as the person that is in charge of specialized unit, the specialized unit, mine was then to do that assessment of our capacity, submit a report to the senior management team of EMPD, and ask that we as EMPD approach council for council to provide us with the necessary resources to plug the gap. That's where you start. You don't start by going to some company outside and then you got all sorts of arrangements. You don't. If indeed this thing is above board, if this thing is done honestly, you must submit a report. Identify the gaps, identify all the challenges that we're facing, then make recommendations on how to plug this. But the default position is that to ask council to provide with the capacity. Council, if indeed this is an issue that requires the municipality to get funding, council will then take a resolution to submit something to National Treasury to assist. We are a government. We're a government. So all these issues that are raised in this letter, these are things that should first be dealt with internally in the municipality.
Are you suggesting that there can be no donation if there is no gap that's sought to be plugged?
That's just the thing. Why are you donating to government?
Assume that
out of nowhere.
Assume that I'm a billionaire and I want to donate to you a few billions for service delivery.
Well, I don't know, Chair. I mean, if indeed such a situation will arise, but still would need a report. In everything that we do, there must be a recorder that indeed this was identified, or this person approached us and wants to enter into this particular partnership or wants to donate these resources to the institution. Because there are contingent issues that arise out of a donation, especially a donation of an asset that is to be utilized. You as the donor, you'll give the municipality this vehicle. But once the vehicle now becomes an asset of the municipality, the vehicle must be funded by the municipality in order for us to use it. You must make sure that there's petrol, tires must be changed, all sorts of things. So now your donation, nice as it is, creates a burden on the municipality. Because now we must service it, we must do this, we must do that. So we must create funding that will not come from you, but must come from the coffers of the municipality in order for us to utilize that donation. So that report must talk to those issues. That report must talk to those issues that if we accept this donation, these are the contingent issues that then come with it, that we will need to get funding. So therefore, finance must then identify a vote number that will be able to be utilized for the purposes of us accepting the donation and therefore be able to utilize it going forward.
Thank you, Chair.
Does council have a role in the acceptance, in the decision to accept
Yes.
or reject a donation?
It does.
Okay. How does it come about? What happens? You make a submission?
A report. Everything, unfortunately, requires a report. The report then goes through the structures. The report, of course, will go to other departments that will be involved. It's a donation to EMPD. Fleet department must be able to make their own comments on the report in terms of how this particular asset will be utilized. Finance department must be able to make their comment on the funding for the utilization of that particular asset, and then it goes onto the structures of council. Especially, this type of donation, these are easily going into millions. Vehicles of this nature would probably go into millions in terms of their value. Then council must be in a position to take that view, having, of course, done the due diligence around the donor, but council must resolve to accept the donation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Nciza, in addition to the issue you've raised about a lack of a report, can I ask you to have regard to paragraph 39.4 of your witness statement? Paragraph 39.4. In the second sentence of paragraph 39.4, you raise a further concern. Please detail that to the Commission.
Now, you have this letter of commitment, and then we get to learn that the donation was effected. And I'm saying effected, or the donation in quotes, and effected in quotes as well, in January, by way of the cars registered under the municipality. But the Jeff Weeks query, media query, does not reflect these cars as being utilized by the institution. They were registered. Sorry, commissioners. I don't know why this
You
thing
can
is
tell
not-
them you're in the commission. They must not disturb you. You're talking.
No, it's my 12 o'clock alarm for prayer. I pray at 12, sorry. I'm sorry about that. It's one of the things that I want to switch this thing off. Done. Right. Apologies.
No need for an apology. In fact, you should have prayed for all of us.
Anytime, Commissioner, anytime. So you have the so-called donation occurring in January 2023 by registration of the vehicles unto the municipality. But the media query from Jeff Weeks conclusively shows that these vehicles were utilized by the donor. So there is no benefit that the institution then derived from the donation. You know, I make the example, Commissioner, that if I'm to give you my laptop and donate my laptop to you, and then we input your details on the laptop so that the digital footprint is Madlanga, but then I retain the laptop. I continue to use the laptop. So if tomorrow there are issues that arise out of the laptop, the digital footprint will say, well, Madlanga's laptop did this, you know. But I continue to use the laptop. So whose laptop is it? You know, so was there a donation? No, there was no donation. You know, because if we donate something, you must hand it over. It then becomes that person, the beneficiary's asset. But in this instance, there was no handover. Actually, we did not even know about the donation until the media query. So, yeah, that is one of the issues. There was no handover. And in that 2 months period, where these vehicles were under the municipality's name, you know, we don't know exactly what would have happened or what happened, you know, what type of transactions, you know, these vehicles were used in. You know, what is it that was ferried through these vehicles? We don't know that. But what we do know is that if these vehicles encountered any form of scrutiny by any law enforcement agency, that law enforcement agency probably would have said they are municipal vehicles and therefore let me back off. And
is it fair to suggest that perhaps the registration period, January to, and then deregistration, well, the donation period and registration period and deregistration from you may well indicate or may suggest that in that period, that cover that is provided by the municipality may well have been required for a specific purpose, because they get registered in January or given to you Jan and registered and then deregistered March. So it may well be there was a specific purpose for it, and once it was achieved, the vehicles were then deregistered.
I can only postulate, Madam Commissioner, that had it not been for Jeff Wicks, whatever the purpose was would have continued. Because the deregistration process happens as a result of Jeff Wicks. You know, remember, we didn't know as a municipality. You know, so if Jeff Wicks then didn't raise the alarm, whatever it is that the vehicles were doing would have continued. I don't know for how long. You know, so it might be that indeed there might have been a purpose, an underlying purpose why this scheme was generated. But that underlying purpose could not have been for the shortened, because we're talking about a month and a half from around the 18th of January to the 6th of March. So we're talking about a month and a half or so, wherein these vehicles were registered under the municipality. So whatever the scheme was, you know, it's probable that it was a much larger intention than March. Because the evidence that we gathered shows that when now Mkhwanazi gets suspended, then he then raises the issue with Fleet to say, hey, let's give me the documents, let's do the deregistration process, you know, because the donation process is cancelled, you know. So, yeah.
Maybe those epaulets should have been given to Mr. Wicks then.
The what?
Maybe those epaulets and Georgettes should have been given to Mr. Wicks.
We owe him a huge gratitude.
It sounds like. Thank you.
We owe him a huge gratitude as an institution, We don't know exactly what the name of the municipality would have been taken through. I mean, can you imagine a situation wherein indeed any of these vehicles gets entangled in some criminal activity, and the law enforcement agency that is dealing with that criminal activity picks up that this vehicle is an Ekurhuleni vehicle? You know, it would then have meant that our vehicles are used in a criminal enterprise. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's depressing to even think about. But what I also raised in 39.4, commissioners, is another serious concern. All things being equal, if these vehicles indeed were registered under the municipality, properly registered, and the donation process had been properly done, and assume that these became municipal assets, because now on the 18th of January, the vehicle, BMW, is now on the system an Ekurhuleni asset. If that had been done, and we were to accept that a donation had occurred, the process of deregistration raises even another problem. Because now you have got a municipal asset. There is a process that you must go, you must now invoke in order to dispose of a municipal asset. Because once these things are now in the register of the municipality, and I'm not suggesting that they were in the register of the municipality, they were just on the innate system, but they were not on the register of the municipality. But the fact that now they are called Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality vehicles, they are now assets of the municipality. In order for you to dispose of a municipal asset, again, you need a report. You need a report, and that report goes all the way to the municipal council. And council must then resolve that such asset must be disposed of. An asset like a motor vehicle, and I'm raising this because a number of reports had existed where indeed motor vehicles would be disposed of by the municipality, can only be disposed of via a public auction. If the municipality wants to dispose of an asset, it must advertise such a disposal process and call upon members of the public to come and bid in a public auction for them to buy that asset. Remember, this is an asset of society, because I mean, government exists for the people. So then the people must then be given an option to gain that asset. We do that even with regards to land, you know. So this instance, you have a municipal asset that is now disposed of without following due process again.